There is the beginning of a community in Fermat now. What was lost in slavery and flames is being recovered here. But all around such little spots are places and people still embedded in the past. They refuse change or are denied it. In Fermat and a few similar places, the Haitian mountains are being tamed. But in Haiti and the world at large, nature, never completely tamed, lies ready to take advantage of any failure, as she always has. We are in a world where the useful land is yearly diminished by nature out of control. We are in a world hungry for food, hungry for space, hungry for energy. Yet vast reaches of land and water lie waiting to be used. We are in the great mountain ranges of British Columbia in northwest Canada.
We came here looking for power. What interested us was that behind the wall of the Coast Range Mountains along the Pacific, there's a lot of water trapped, 3,000 feet above sea level. We found one system of lakes and streams that all drained eastward through one small river. We figured if we could plug that little gap, we'd have quite a reservoir. We felt like explorers almost, like pioneers. Other people had been there before us, of course. Well, we didn't mean to disturb them, but we did mean to disturb the land. It took about as much explosive to do the job as was shot off in any single day of the Second World War, and that's a lot of powder. We had to knock down a mountain, and we had to scoop up the results and pack it together into a dam. We finished the dam, shut the sluice gates, and the water rose. We were by way of having made ourselves a lake 150 miles long where there'd never been any such lake before. The map of this country looked different all at once. While we were getting all that water under control, we had to arrange to use it. So we drilled a tunnel 10 miles long and 20 feet in diameter through the mountain that blocked the west end of the lake. Mostly it was granite, a hard rock job. It took 18 months. Even 30 years ago, I guess we could have done as big things as we're doing here, but not so well, not so fast, not being so sure of ourselves. When we'd finished the tunnel, we drilled what's called a penstock, downwards about half a mile, 16 times the height of Niagara. Then at the bottom, a quarter of a mile inside the mountain, we dug out a cavern, 700 feet long, 100 wide, and 100 high. Big enough to house a good-sized cathedral or a whale of a big hydroelectric plant. While the turbines and generators were being installed, we had to tackle another problem. We had to get ready to carry the power out of the mountains to where we could use it. We ran 4-inch cables on specially designed towers for 50 miles over the mountains, one of them about a mile high, to a flat bayshore place called Kitimat. There on the shore, we built an aluminum smelter 1.5 miles long. Three years after we'd started, we were ready to go. The smelter and the power system were ready. Deep underground, the power plant was ready. Up in the mountains behind it all, the lake was ready. We had to have people to work up here, who'd make this their home, too. At first, we put people up as best we could.
Morning, Wilbur.
Say, you own a piece of land here, do you?
Yes, a whole half-acre swamp. What's up?
Well, nothing, but there's a meeting tomorrow night. Those who own land here are going to get together, and there are only about 10 of you.
Something wrong?
No, the company's starting to build the town. They don't want it to be a company town. They want the people that are going to live in it to run it themselves.
Yes, I heard about that, but what's the meeting about?
Well, you have to elect a council and a mayor, and the only people that are eligible to do this are landowners. It's the law.
It's the law, if you're going to have a free and independent town. We got the best people we could find to plan us the best modern town for this kind of country. Some country. We had to figure out where the planners meant the place to be put, then we had to make room for it. We'd barely started when people began to come from all over the world, looking for work and the good life they'd heard about. Mostly men alone at first.
So, did you know we had 374 Portuguese coming in this afternoon?
374?
Mm-hmm.
No, sir, I did not.
We hadn't heard about them, but you send them right along anyways. No, I tell you, send them right to the mess hall.
Hey, Charlie, put on 400 more orders of beef roast.
Pretty soon, though, the men began to save up money and they sent out for their wives and kids. And the population got a good deal better looking, I'll say that. This wasn't the town, don't get the wrong idea. This was just a sort of shack camp we used while the town was being built.
Τι είναι εδώ μέσα?
Εδώ είναι η κουζίνα.
Και εκείνο?
Αυτή είναι η κουζίνα που μαγειρεύουνε.
Και πώς μαγειρεύουν?
Α, να σου δείξω εγώ, να δεις. Έτσι θα ανάβεις την κουζίνα και μόλις γίνει το φαΐ με το ρολόι, σβήνει μόνη της. Και το φαΐ είναι έτοιμο.
Δεν καταλαβαίνω τίποτα.
Έλα να σου δείξω κάτι άλλο που είναι ωραίο. Βάζεις τα ρούχα μέσα, πατάς το κουμπί και μετά από μισή ώρα είναι έτοιμο.
Τι ωραίο μεσί είναι αυτό. Τι ωραία ρούχα που πλένει αυτό.
Yeah, it wasn't bad while it lasted. Two years after we started it, the town of Kitimat, British Columbia, Canada, population growing by the hour, was on the map. Sooner than you'd believe, the old pioneer days had passed. Pretty soon, the school boat from the Haisla Indian village over across the bay was arriving every morning. Pretty soon, you'd have sworn there'd always been a town here, growing slowly, a part of the region, part of its history. Wherever you turn in Kitimat, you get the connection between power and plenty. Power and plenty and people from 31 different countries obliged to get along together somehow in order to benefit by it all.
Hello, may I help you?
Yes. How much is this thing?
That is $2.75.
Jak pani mąż pracuje? Na zmianie czy na dzienną?
Dzienną siatkę robię.
Tak?
Tak.
Pani Stefo, jakie mydło jest najlepsze? Say,
could you tell me where the coffee is?
Over there. Ja, zawsze na przykład biorę.
People from 31 countries, that worried us. Because we knew there'd always been plenty of trouble before in situations like this. People have to control themselves. We planned everything we could, but we couldn't plan civic peace.
Manuel, throw me up a crescent wrench.
What? What is he?
He wants the crescent wrench. Crescent.
Oh, a shaft.
What's the delay? Oh, there you are. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Jack. Where are you going? Oh, I'm quit. I'm leaving. Can't speak a word of English to anybody. I'm just fed up.
Hey, when you get to where you're going, send me a card, eh?
For the most part, there seemed to be peace and quiet and friendliness, even though all of us were deep in the wilderness and we had 10 feet of rainfall a year. Everybody seemed to be trying to make a community out of this place, but still, everybody went on being himself. It was risky.
Well, now, I don't see what a community center would give us that we don't already have. Just look at the things that are going on in town this week. A basketball game at the high school, a dance at the YMCA, a lecture at the elementary school on the future of the atomic age, film society, 2 soccer games, fast and tea at the church. No one person could attend them all. I don't see why we should spend a lot of money for something we've already got.
Well, before we go any further, let's see how the public feels. After all, they're the ones that brought up the subject. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to this?
If you please, Mr. Reeve, if I have the right to speak, I am not a Canadian citizen yet, and I am not a voter in this town.
You will be soon, though, we hope. Anyway, you have the perfect right to speak.
Thank you. The councillor has just told us how many things are happening in this week, but all these things scattered all over the town. Real town should have one place where the people can go and respect. Take this lesson about atomic energy last night in a school. But school is good for children. It is not distinguished.
What's worse, the school is uncomfortable. The seats are hard to sit on, blackboards are on the wall. It's so cold. Sometimes we have a lecturer come and visit us. Well, afterwards we like to take him into the lounge and have coffee. And more people would come to our discussion groups that way.
It seems to me that if people are interested, they'll come anyway. But how many people are interested in hearing some scientist talk about the atom?
Community center is not just for a lecture. It's good for exhibitions, concerts.
That's all very well. But what we need is a covered swimming pool for our kids.
Yes, a swimming pool too in time. But right now we need a community.
Community center is not just a building. It should stand for something.
There's plenty of room already for athletics.
Personally, I think an arena would serve the most people.
We have no summer here.
Why not find
we
out
have to
what
make a
people
summer for
want?
our
Why
kids.
not hold a referendum?
We need a covered swimming pool.
One at a time, please. You
No,
can all
very
have
well.
a chance to speak,
What we need
but
is a covered
one at a
swimming pool.
time.
When you get right down to it, the one thing that goes on in this town that attracts everybody are these soccer league games.
Order, please.
The game is over.
People losing control like this could wreck all we'd made here. Soccer games, international squabbles, missing persons, the weather, and atomic energy, and the town thinks and talks.
The people in Kitimat generally get along very well together.
They all want a paycheck and a decent living, and if they fight, they won't get it.
It's the foreign element, you know, that causes trouble like this. Some of the immigrants.
But aren't we all immigrants here in this country? Except Mr. Robinson here and his people.
Oh, I wasn't speaking of the Indians, of course. You know what I mean.
Listen, all they have to do is change the names of the teams so they don't sound like different countries, and that'll solve your whole problem.
Say, they're going to have to stop this fighting on the soccer field. Hell, it's getting to be that every game's a little war.
Take a load of this. This scientist says with atomic power, we can get rich and live better than we ever have. All of us.
Ah, that's just pie in the sky. The way things are, we're a hell of a lot more likely to be blown up in smoke.
It's so crazy business. Yeah, the whole world is crazy.
Maybe. The world is small, certainly. More and more of it seems to be beyond what man can see or even imagine. We are forced to think in new terms. New responsibilities and new risks lie beyond the stars. We are forced to think in new terms. New responsibilities and new risks lie inside the smallest particle of matter.
The nuclear weapon is, in terms of destructive power, the cheapest thing the world has ever seen. Cheaper than conventional weapons by a factor of hundreds, if not thousands.
It is estimated that a 20 megaton bomb releases energy which is of the same order as that of a large earthquake.
It is apparent that the blast of a 1 megaton explosion is enough to destroy the very largest of modern cities. Its radiological effect is enough to devastate an area as large as some countries.
By the sheer logic of the situation, it is clear that megaton bombs and cities cannot coexist for very long, as this laboratory demonstration makes obvious.
A single 10 megaton thermonuclear explosion is roughly equal to twice the power released by all explosives detonated in all of World War II by all belligerents.
Is this the dawn? or the middle of the night? Is this the beginning of something new, or the end of everything? It is the middle of the night. We are watching the release in 1 instant of twice the energy released by all the explosives detonated by all the belligerents during all of World War II. We are in the village of Kjella, not far from Oslo, Norway.
Unnskyld, jeg vil gjerne snakke med sjefen, hvis det var mulig. Da skal vi snakke med direktør Anders, det fine sekretæren på kontoret der. Jeg er sikker på at det er noen der. Ja, vel. Og unnskyld meg, jeg vil gjerne snakke med direktør Anders, hvis det var mulig.
I'm sorry, I do not understand.
Oh.
Do you speak English?
Well, I can try.
I'm afraid it's the only language we all speak here.
Well, I see. You see, I have a complaint. I would like to speak with a man.
Here is Dr. Anders.
Mitt navn Larsen. Jeg har en klage.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Oh, excuse me. I have to speak English. Red smoke here are killing my bees. Look here.
Oh, that red smoke, that's only some stuff we put in to test our ventilation channels.
You think so?
It's not dangerous.
Well, when a red smoke come over my garden, my bees were dying. And I know this place is very dangerous.
So you think the radioactivity from this place killed your bees, do you?
Yes.
Well, let's try to find out.
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
Thank
you. You have probably heard about Geiger counters for measuring radioactivity. This is a particularly sensitive one. Mr. Ellis, could we use your instrument for a moment?
Oh, certainly.
Now, you know, if your bees really died from radioactivity, they should be radioactive now. Now, let me have your bees, and we will try it. Thank you. You see, the instrument shows nothing. So there is no radioactivity.
Well, maybe it doesn't work.
Well, I'll show you. Let me see your wristwatch. You see, it works even on the very slight activity of your watch dial. And the bees showed nothing. So, whatever killed your bees, it certainly was not radioactivity.
But you're working with dangerous things. Many people wished you had never built this place here.
Well, we certainly don't want people to feel that way. Why don't you go and see for yourself what we are doing in this establishment? Mr. Alice, wouldn't you please show Mr. Larsen around? And show him everything.
With pleasure.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Larsen.
Bye.
And don't hesitate to ask any questions you like. Everything here is open.
Thank you.
Bye.
Shall we go? Yep.
This is it. This is the place where the smoke comes from. It shows us how good our ventilation is.
Aha. Jeg forstår. Secret things in there.
Oh, no, no secrets at all. We just keep some radioactive material in here and we have to be careful. We can go in if you like to.
Yes.
But don't touch anything.
Today, they are not handling anything dangerous.
Now, this is the place where we process isotopes.
Well, I have heard of them. That's what you use to treat cancer with nowadays, isn't it?
Yes, yes, correct. But we do a lot more things with them.
What is an isotope?
Well, take for instance this here. It's a piece of cobalt, just a lump of metal. You can hold it in your hand now, but after we put it inside the reactor, it becomes a radioactive isotope of cobalt.
It looked just the same, but we won't be able to get near it without protection. But we'll be able to work with it. For instance, they expose seeds and plants to various doses of radioactivity from such isotopes and change the way they grow. Most come to nothing, but eventually some of these irradiated things will give us better and larger food crops.
Now, this is what really counts, the reactor. It took about 5 years to build it, and it's pretty old now, but rather should be just. I have a one of these things here.
I've been wondering what could have brought you here to Norway, to such a small country.
Oh, a scientist goes wherever he can learn. And here everything is free and open, so we can learn fast.
India needs atomic energy?
By all means. We have many natural resources and much fuel, but often it is in the wrong places. We need the atom to develop what we have and to industrialize ourselves. And we are all here for the same reasons, one way or the other. There is a man from Denmark. That man is from England. There is a man from Switzerland. They have been sent here because their countries expect to have fuel and power problems. Mr. Okamoto's country has to begin using atomic power quickly, before her other sources run out. Mr. Shivadinovic is here because Yugoslavia, like most nations, needs trained nuclear physicists. Mr. Rallis can tell you, Italy is a classic example. She'll be relying more and more on atomic power in the next few years. And so will Holland. Isn't that right, Mr. Goodcock?
Oh yes, nuclear energy will be more and more important for us soon.
So you see, that's why it's so important for us to be able to work as freely as possible with this reactor.
But where is the reactor?
Oh, that's it, right here.
That big block of cement? When are you going to turn it on?
Oh, it is on.
How can you tell? It doesn't even make any noise.
Oh, it's working. You can't see anything, but I'll show you. See, this shows what it looks like when you cut it in half. Here you see the concrete shield which stops the radiation from getting through and makes it safe. Inside the concrete we have graphite, and inside the graphite is an aluminium tank. Now, in this aluminium tank we have a liquid which we call heavy water. It's a very rare and expensive liquid, but it makes possible the fission in these uranium rods which you see hanging in the water. You know, that is how this place came to be. You in Norway built the reactor and had the heavy water, and we in Holland happened to have the uranium, so the two countries got together to do what either of them could not do alone. And that's how this place started out being international, and we have kept it that way, so that the whole world may come here and see how the reactor works.
Why Norway? We have all the power we can use. Why do we spend money on something we may never need?
Yeah, perhaps one of your countrymen could best answer that question. Why don't you ask the man who designed this reactor together with Dr. Anders and who built quite a lot of it with his own hands? Most of us are just scientists, but he has been many things besides. A pioneer aviator, an Arctic explorer, in fact an explorer in many fields. I guess you could say he's a true Viking. His name is Dahl.
Please sit down, Mr. Larsen.
Thank you.
Look here. Documents like this, they are coming in every week, all written by experts. And the experts, you know, they don't like to agree. But they all agree that in about 30 years we will all be in trouble. By the time you are a nice old man with grandchildren, there will be an awful lot more people in the world. And they would like to live at least as well as we live now. But then there will be less of coal and less of oil, and we will have no more unused water power to support their lives. We will have less, but we will want more.
Even in Norway?
In Norway, perhaps even sooner. Perhaps sometime the scientists will find new ways to supply us. You have heard of fusion? But right now, all we have to depend on to help us is this, uranium. You can touch it, handle it.
Oh, it's heavy. But in your reactor here, it doesn't make anything. It can't light up any lights.
Only in our brains, I hope. I will tell you, we will miss the boat altogether unless we teach ourselves as much as we can about atoms, so that in due time they will work for us. And just imagine what they can do. In medicine, radioactive isotopes are a medical instrument in general use in many parts of the world. A handful of uranium holds power equivalent to thousands of tons of coal. Power from the atom is in use, making electricity in many countries. In England, in Scotland, in Siberia, in the United States, in France, atomic power will run ships like the United States Savannah. The same power is running the Soviet icebreaker Lenin. In small power plants, the atom can make electricity in remote areas. These package reactors can make the power to bring fresh water to desert areas and spread the water over the wastelands. All this and much more these little sticks can do.
Well, if the experts are right and we are going to run short of everything else, it's good to know that we have this to fall back on, that we don't need to worry anymore.
Our grandchildren may be able to say that, but we can't. Strangely, thanks to the war and the pressure since the war, we have come a long way. But another war won't push us further faster. It probably will stop us altogether. Even if we don't take time out to fight each other, the best we can hope for is to maintain our present way of life. You see, we have to run like hell just in order to stay in one place.
Well, if that's the case, why are you people wasting time making bombs?
No, we don't make bombs. No, you have seen all there is to see.
What about your reactor? That's a kind of a bomb, isn't it?
No. A reactor is not a weapon. It's a tool. It serves us.
But it's an awful tool. It's so dangerous.
Electricity and automobiles can also be dangerous. You have your bees. Bees can be dangerous too. Bees have killed people. But we have learned to live with all that. That's nothing new. But now we have something new. Not only must we prevent a war, but we must learn to survive in peace.
How can we hope to? We are all human after all. We all like to destroy at least as much as we like to build.
We can control things pretty well already, but we must control ourselves. Control!
You expect too much from human nature.
Maybe. It's a human dilemma. And today, only the dead can afford not to care.
Men build, men destroy. Surviving men build again. Sometimes there is no survival. What a piece of work is man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel. In apprehension, how like a god. What a piece of work is man.
مشتاق ارجع على هالبالة هوية، مشتاق اشوف صحنة سلتي والحمدية، يجي همس صوت المدفعية وخدمة دولاب ورجع عنه للسورية، خاصة لو كانت بجسمي.
كنت أغني بالبيت عمري 9 سنين. كنت أحطي أول شيء ما كان براسي الفن.
كنت يا سوري ما حنعمرها ما في رجوع. الميلاد هذا مثل دموع.
كنت أسمع أو التصوير مثلهم، أروح أحط السماعات مثلا وأرتن. شوي 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 حبيت إني أدخل بهذا المجال ودخلت وصلت هذا.
I explain all the words, also for the Romanian children and also for the Syrian children. The text of the song I want to explain to know each of them what they are singing.
حقيقة حلم للطفل، وكويسة إنه شعور الأم إنه ابنها يعني شلون بدي أقول لك، يعني شيء حلو إنه واحد إنه أولادها يكونوا هيك بالكولور.
هلا أنا بفضل أكيد الراب لأنه هيك أخاني شوي إنه مثل بيغنوا عندهم بحة صوت.
بعدتم عن العينين ازداد حبكم وغبتم وانتم في الفؤاد حضور. بسوريا أنا ولدت في بيت فني، كان والدي فنان وبعديها تعلمت الإنشاد على إيده. شمس الشموسة يلا بينا نملى ونحلى لبن الجاموسة مثلا.
كونه يجي المركز فشي مهم جدا. الموسيقى بتخلق جو حلو جدا بيجمع الكل، سودانيين سوريين مصريين، فالناس بتتبادل الثقافات مع بعضيها يعني.
سلام يا بهية رد السلام عليا الورد جالك مستهز. كل الانجازات اللي انا بتمناها يعني بشوفها بغنيها، بشوفها على مسرح بردة فعل الجمهور، يعني هو الفن تقريبا كل ما تبقى لنا.
He wanted to work and he demonstrated this from the beginning. He was serious and very effective in everything. And of course, he wanted to learn the job.
بعد فکر این یه جوری بود که من حتی شبا میخوابیدم خواب میدیدم، کابوس میدیدم، استرس خیلی داشتم. میام سر کار یکم خسته میشم، وقتم میگذره، شب میرم خونه راحت میگیرم میخوابم.
To leave your place and your house, it's a very, very difficult decision. And you don't do this for simple reasons, and especially you don't do this only for money.
آدمای خوبی هستند، مهمون نواز هستن. درسته ما مسلمانیم، مادرم حجاب داره، خواهرم حجاب داره. که آرزومه همین الان منو بفرستن پیش خانوادم، مادرم و خواهرم رو بفرستن پیش پدرم. من یه دونه پسر دارم و خانومم، تمام زندگیم همونا.
الياس جميل عبد الله محمد مقبل الحكيمي، عمري 14. كنا آمنين، كنا مرتاحين أحسن راحة. أول ما بدأ الصاروخ اتفجر جنبنا ورجع بطل تغلقين المدارس، تغلقين كل حاجة، ورجع كانوا يتضاربوا، ورجع كانوا يقرح الحرب بالطوائر بالقنابل بكل حاجة. هربنا احنا وابي واخوتي والاسره حقنا، ولا ودرنا حاجه، حتى اللقمه ما عاد، حتى قطره ما عاد شليناهاش. العشاء مش سابره، نجلس من صبح لا بعد الظهر ندور القطره الماء. مشتاق احنا للبيت، مشتاق للمدرسه، مشتاق كل شيء. نشتي السلام والأمن الأمان والمدرسة والمستشفى والأكل الحالي والشرب الحالي، نشتي كل ما كنا.
خلص خروج بدراش.
Rebirat Amiswad, Tatut Kaniro Matsuya, Netina. Lali. Tadi semua muda.
Mothers are still waiting up to 2 months for those test results, and that can be a very long period in an HIV-positive infant's life.
Nzima kazi ndi bodega chifuka sindukuziwa ntuma mwana wanga kuti kodi matenda anatengerera kapena sanatengera.
Crazy, fragile, necessary. SPF, clean, scary, vulnerable, hope.
Here in southeast Senegal, these women are gathering the produce from their flourishing vegetable garden. But only a few years ago they were struggling to grow anything at all due to soil degradation and lack of water, an effect of climate change, says Iwan Daiwa, president of this women's cooperative.
Before it was not easy. Due to lower rainfall, the soil became degraded and there was no more land to cultivate. We were going to move away, but now thanks to solar energy, we have enough water to develop our land.
This solar energy is used to pump water from the wells, ensuring that the 65 women in our cooperative have a steady supply for irrigation. This is part of a $30 million investment by the Global Environment Facility and the UN's International Fund for Agricultural Development. Working in a quarter of the country, they are improving irrigation systems and water management and introducing farming practices more suited to the climate, which is having a major impact on the communities, says the project's Abiboulaye Ba.
With the adoption of good farming techniques that are more suitable to the changed climate, the project has helped improve soil fertility, which has led to an increase in productivity, permitting the community to improve their standard of living, their health, as well as their nutrition.
One technique to adapt to the changing climate is to diversify production. It makes for a more varied diet, and there is less chance of going hungry if one crop fails. Now, with access to so much water, these women can grow a variety of vegetables.
To saucer jams, we were able to make a profit and create a fund to finance other activities.
With this extra money, farmers can buy livestock and other foods. Iwa, who was widowed 5 years ago, can now look after the 21 members of her extended family, including 8 children and 8 grandchildren.
We have had record yields, and this allowed us to rebuild our house and buy sheep. Each woman group has at least 4 sheep, and some have bought oxen, others furniture. This project has had a very concrete impact on our lives.
In a nearby village, more suitable crops are helping other farmers like Ajah and Rao make the most of their limited resources. Here, they are now growing a fast-maturing rice variety that can thrive with less rain.
Good practices and technologies have saved us. Now we have less good land, but with seeds that have short cycle and high yields, instead of farming many hectares, we farm a few and still get a large production.
Ira and Ajah are amongst more than 32,000 families who have improved their nutrition, health and incomes through these changes. And more importantly, they are now better equipped to face an uncertain future and to cope with the challenges of a changing climate.
We can already see the impact of the crisis in terms of the rates of malnutrition. We are seeing increase in the admission rates. On the onset of the crisis, most services were stopped.
Insecurity have playing a role. In the past, some people can go outside of Juba. They can farm for their own. But now you cannot move anymore. Surely it become a challenge for us. Yeah, we receive a readmission. The same patient go home and readmitted in the same condition.
But I think that the general situation is people are worried there is no food in the country.
Juga dig di wan tayla ken wan ci dollar ben kang ci kagal karan ci nam karang ci yo digi ba cham na ti cin digi yo kin we de ngru la way digi ko ban tal ko cham gor de tew ja be ten ja ne pana kim na ci met be ten pana kim ke ben me wal ki tat.
A lot of them are malnutrition with their complicated diseases. Some are conscious, some even unconscious.
Tahu ban pi la karai di, cina cin kangen ona cin tuan tahu. An cina real undi ra nak kuen galle sa dang ban ngabi konya liu. Cin kuen ngate ke ka ngot ke kau ni, ke ban ke, an ke kau mana sama ke ka ngot. Nade kuen cima tu dal ke mendu konya ke. Pira ting pira rai, an mi dah cin kuen konya.
Gana besi oja sudan gana si oja doman mani me gana si me fe me te legu na ta sowina na besi amai konika me dukara biasa me jika joni ani kurtana sowina yo yi ka mangba ango yi mbulere sana ko ma meri sowini meri osuni wako Onguru mani ma fe modu ko iya ga batiri toni kuade ni ilgar ko ma dera kare ma dera gare ga ma de modu ko vowira linya ibuna ko de kake manya vowira ma de ofu menji paka dia jini ma ko du vowi endo di a de du male dia si je no so ma iya ga dia sa ma ko du toy dia vowi me da ma voring baka dia ni si modu ade Madi joma imara loma iri ma family dito Sudan ke berasa jono si Uganda ke kon ngor ko de madona lani tamani sumi de ama batir de mi konya duare ondo te bor ki meno korena losi ma so ayo lakini mani kudi settlement de oke testa izina ditia jo amvuyo ma batir izade
Goudabu refugee camp in northern Burkina Faso is home to almost 10,000 Malian refugees. They fled the conflict in their own country, bringing with them whatever they could. UNICEF has been working with UNHCR to provide water and sanitation to the camp and to provide education for the camp's children. 12-year-old Alou Soufiane fled the fighting with his parents and their livestock more than 2 years ago.
Je suis un réfugié des Maliens. Je quitte au Mali à cause des guerres. Et j'ai arrivé ici sur mon pied. Je bête mes animaux. Et jusqu'à ici. Nous serons très contents parce que on n'a pas acheté les cahiers, les matériels de l'école. C'est HR qui nous achète et UNICEF. Et encore, ils ont acheté des nourritures à manger à l'école. Ils ont fait de belles écoles ici.
On a week-long visit to Burkina Faso, the Bureau of the UNICEF Executive Board visited the camp and its school. They met with Alou Soufiane and his classmates, and they met with the camp's community leaders to find out what conditions are like for women and children here.
Okay, merci. Donc, on va profiter souhaiter ensemble bon retour à la délégation. Merci.
They also visited Gangol gold mine, where almost 1,000 children dig, carry and crush rocks, often alongside their parents.